G'day fellas, I want to talk to you guys about the patch. There was a patch or an update that dropped recently, we spoke about it. In this video, I want to talk to you guys about a couple of different things. I'm going to break it up into a couple of different parts in the video, but essentially, I want you guys to know I'm doing this on the fly. I've got no script for this, so all of it is just sort of coming from the heart, but at the same time, we're coming from the brain as well. So the first thing that I want to do for you guys, I want to explain why the patch seems out of sync. The second thing I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about communication. And that's not going to be for the community. That's going to be for the devs. So hopefully they're watching this. Hopefully they're listening as well, because this is a really, really important point. So just to summarize exactly what happened. So there was a patch that was released yesterday. We took a look at it. You know, overall, I think the patch was generally pretty good. But there were a couple of questionable changes, or specifically changes that didn't happen. So as an example, you know, we saw that the Spearman had been buffed. They've actually changed this one up a little bit. Doesn't look the same way it did yesterday. There were a lot of changes that people understood, but then there were a lot of changes people didn't understand. Things like the Horseman nerf, things like the Deli nerf, really people didn't understand it. But I want to explain to you guys exactly why it seems out of sync. So there was a Reddit post that was made. And it is called the Winter Update. So this was from 13 hours ago. The Winter Update we received was at least 20 days old. And then someone comments saying, it seems to confirm the idea that the certification pipeline and stuff is really problematic. Microsoft really needs to rework it. The old console system works somewhat for normal games. Okay, I'm not going to read all of that, but what I'm going to do is do my best to explain this to you guys. So you guys know Age of Empires 4 has been in development for a long time, okay? And the issue is, when it comes to the pipeline, this is how it works, all right? We're currently sitting, I'm bringing out paint. I know you guys absolutely love it when I bring out paint. So we're sitting right now, we'll call this, this is the present, okay? So I'm gonna put a label on that. This is the present, okay? And the problem is that when it comes to the present, there's actually two different areas. The first one is the community, and the second one is behind the door. So I'm gonna put that as behind the scenes. Okay, and so essentially these two things are not in sync, because the update that we are receiving right now today is not actually from behind the scenes today. It's actually from months ago. It's from months ago. And the reason why we're receiving that is because of this certification process. So for anybody wondering about this certification process, it's the way that Microsoft works. It's a normal part because they're working with developers. They're working with Relic, and they're saying, hey, we need to make sure that there are no game-breaking bugs in this development or this patch when it comes live. We need to make sure that that is the case. And now you guys might be like, oh, well, excuse me, the Spearman bug? Hello? You guys, anybody? Did you guys see the Spearman bug? Okay, that's not what they're talking about. That is not where the majority of players are. That's not what they care about. What they care about are the people who log in and play the campaign. People who log in and play the skirmishes, because overwhelmingly that is their large player base. If John, from wherever he is in the world, can't log into the game, and you know, or if he keeps like blue screening or something like that, that is a huge issue for Microsoft, and that's what they're trying to deal with. So where am I going with this? All of the changes that you see from here are literally from internal tests that very likely happened months ago. That is the big thing, okay? This is where we are now, okay? But the testing is subsequently going to be much further ahead. So it means that the changes that we are having right now are not reactive changes to us. This is not us. A lot of people jumped into this patch and thought, well, this, you know, Genesis has just happened. We are going to be getting the post-Genesis patch. We're going to be seeing France get nerfed. We're going to see the Mongols get nerfed. We're going to see Springalds get nerfed. We're going to see slight buffs to China, slight buffs to Delhi, big buffs to Holy Roman Empire, and we'll call that a day. No, this is not the post-Genesis patch, because this patch needed to go through a certification process, as talked about in this Reddit post. We can see that this patch was more than 20 days old. You know, it is a normal part of the way that Microsoft as a large company works to make sure that its product is protected. So that brings me on to my second point. I hope that I've explained that for you guys well enough. That brings me on to the second point, which is communication. And this one isn't so much for the community. You guys can still hang out. You can listen to what I've got to say. This one goes out to the development. It goes out to Microsoft. It goes out to Relic. It goes out to anybody who's working behind the scenes trying to make Age of Empires 4 the best game possible. You guys need to communicate. You need to start telling people why you're doing things. It doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be a reason. What am I talking about? When people were going through these changes, you came to the Delhi Sultanate and it said sanctity technology age requirement increased from dark to feudal. Every single person read that and scratched their head. All you need to do is just put a single sentence explaining it. You've done it down here. Ancient spires. Ancient spires now spawns 2 sacred sites along the central east-west axis. The sites are set to spawn 1/2 map width apart along this central line. Just give us a beautiful little sentence like that up here with the Delhi Sultanate. All you need to say is that internal testing indicated that sanctity was too strong when people were taking sacred sites in the Dark Age. Subsequently, we have moved it back. That's it. I appreciate that these patch notes are very, very straightforward, and it's nice to read that. But if you could just give us a nice little blurb explaining to us about the changes. So once again, I'm bringing out paint. All you need to do is put it in a nice little different color so that people know, whether they want to read it or not, just like that, and just explain to us why these changes have happened, because so many people are going to be scratching their heads. So sanctity was too strong. You can even say in internal testing. You can say sanctity was too strong in internal testing, because no joke, or not no joke, but like there is no doubt that this is all based on internal testing. All of this information that we're reading right now is all based on their internal tests. It's nothing to do with the public feedback that they have received at this stage. Now, our feedback will be passed on eventually, but it's going to take months for that to happen. And I know that you guys might be like, well, hold on a minute, Drongo, because there are changes in here that have been very recent. And yes, I accept that. So, with the way that this certification process works, largely they are looking at certifying the majority of the patch. They can squeeze through very small, minute changes if they're confident it's not going to change things at a drastic level, because as I mentioned before, it's all about performance. But speaking of that, we need to talk a little bit more about quality assurance. Quality assurance, for anybody unfamiliar with it, is making sure everything works. There was obviously some concerning bugs that happened that are going to need to be hot fixed. Now, there is a post on Reddit which indicates that there is going to be a patch next week. Not only is the Springald going to be nerfed, but the resource building is going to be fixed, and Abbasid's bug texts are going to be fixed as well. This is a this is a great sign. For anybody unfamiliar, this is from the official Age of Empires Twitch, where there was a stream that was held today, and they have said that. So end of the stream, but Elliot just said there will be a patch next week. Okay, so that's really great communications, but once again, we need to make sure that the communications are happening here at the same time. Even just a little blurb about what you're doing, one sentence here is going to be absolutely awesome. And so with regard to the changes that didn't happen, so as I've told you guys, the changes that are here are the changes that you would expect to have happened months ago internally. It means that right now in time, I'm sitting here on December 1st, they are working on next year's stuff internally. If we know that this is at least 20 days old, keep in mind, that's when it's got certification. The certification process for Microsoft takes a really, really long time, right? It is going to take at least months, at least 30 days. So you can guarantee that this is at least 50 days old. But now you walk into another issue. The issue is that you're going to be annoying your player base. You're going to be frustrating your player base. Your player base is going to say, well, hold on a minute. You've just given us a patch. You didn't address Springalds. You didn't address French. You didn't address the Mongols, and you nerfed Delhi. What the hell is going on? It comes back to communication. Just tell us. Just let us know. Just simply explain, look, we are aware that French, and I know that you have done this already up here towards the top, but I don't think this is sufficient. So here, like the Springalds, this isn't sufficient. It needs to be on a case-by-case basis, especially for the changes like this one right here. I think it's incredibly important because, like with the French as well, like obviously you've got that there. Just say, we are aware that people think the French is currently strong. You've got to explain why you're not changing them, why you don't think they're strong, whether that's internal testing, whether that's numbers. I don't know exactly what that is. But look, this is a short video. I want to say that overall, look, I am happy with the way that the patch has gone. I do think it's the right direction. Obviously, I'm still scratching my head, about the horseman nerf. I don't know what's happening in internal testing where you guys think it's appropriate to reduce the cost or the health of horsemen, make them literally just to be honest, in the current way that the game plays, the Horseman was already really bad, and now you've just gone and made it even worse. Like, sure, it's got an extra range armor, and there are really niche circumstances where this is actually a great change, you know, for against like the Chokunu as an example. It's a very good change, but other than that, it really is a head scratcher. So yeah, I think it's important to try and communicate that. Anyway, I don't want to beat the dead horse any longer. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and yeah, hopefully that explains things for you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.